Mustic botnet exploiting Apache Rocket MQ flaw to expand DDoS attacks. Commando Cat, cryptojacking attack is abusing Docker remote API servers. Hackers target Python developers with fake critic compilers package on Pipey.
In India, billionaire-friendly Modi humbled by Indians who make $4 a day. Dutch left wing holds off surging Geert Wilders in tight EU election, exit poll shows.
Alex Jones agrees to liquidate his assets to pay Sandy Hook families, in move that would end his ownership of InfoWars. YouTube toughens policy on gun videos and youth, critics say proof will be in enforcement. In Germany, Scholz backs Afghan, Syria deportations after policeman killed.
Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas accepted gifts worth millions of dollars over 20 years. Analysis finds Trump ally Steve Bannon ordered to report to prison July 1st in contempt of Congress case. Alito's former neighbor says justice is, at best, mistaken and flap over upside-down U.S. flag.
China issues report on U.S. human rights violations in 2023. Hong Kong court sees 2 UK judges resign amid political tension. U.S. imposes travel bans on Georgian officials over new law that critics say will curb media freedom.
India's second biggest foreign threat to Canada after China, says government panel. She calls for more university exchanges with U.S. to boost ties. EU to China trade war brews, as EU embraces Japan to fight off common competitor. Former federal prosecutor claims appreciable chance Trump dies in prison if he loses re-election bid. Trump calls for January 6 committee members to be indicted.
President Joe Biden says he will not pardon his son Hunter Biden if he's convicted on gun-related charges. Senator Graham says average American wouldn't face Hunter Biden's gun charges. Hunter Biden's sister-in-law Hallie Biden describes finding drugs, gun in his truck, and Hunter Biden was using drugs around the time he bought a gun, Hallie Biden says. In the U.S., Netanyahu invited to address both houses of Congress on July 24th. In Canada, police used tear gas on crowd as pro-Palestinian activists occupy McGill University building. In the UK, Keir Starmer expected to push for Palestinian state in Labour manifesto.
AOC says she wouldn't be surprised if Trump threw me in jail if he wins in 2024. Purported neo-Nazis rally at South Dakota state capitol, march around Pierre. Trump may seek mistrial after Facebook user claims advanced knowledge of verdict.
British PM Rishi Sunak apologizes for skipping D-Day commemorations to campaign for election, and Rishi Sunak vows £12 billion in welfare cuts as part of back-to-work moral mission. Starmer vows no tax surprises in Labour's final election offer.
In the UK, tactical voting threat to Tories as Lib Dems target 90 seats. The Guardian comments as, I want Labour to come into power, so I'm voting Lib Dem. Tactical voting threatens Blue Wall Tories. Labour plans age limit in House of Lords reform, and The Independent comments as, Labour criticised for U-turning on plans to abolish the House of Lords.
Some U.S. lawmakers call for more scrutiny of news app Newsbreak over Chinese origins. Trump vows to never ban TikTok in strongest statement yet on Chinese-owned social media giant. In USA's Texas, Attorney General Ken Paxton opens investigation into car manufacturers' collection and sale of drivers' data.
Trump demands Biden remove ad of him calling dead soldiers suckers and losers, and Trump denies calling dead soldiers losers and suckers after Biden visit to cemetery in France. Fox News edited out Trump saying he might keep Epstein files sealed. Trump meets with probation officer ahead of sentencing.
French far-right projected to win snap election without absolute majority. In Germany, Putin announces further cooperation between Russia and the AfD, and no signs of neo-Nazism, claims. Von der Leyen aims for a second term but still needs a deal. In Ireland, far-right candidates spread baseless claims of election fraud. Portugal's socialists and liberals defeat far-right in EU elections. Russian officials call Macron and Scholz illegitimate after EU election setbacks.
In Canada, federal parties agree to ask Commissioner to investigate treason allegations in Watchdog report. Federal government to give Quebec $750 million for surge in temporary immigrants. Biden to close Dili detention center, shift resources amid border crackdown.
Franco-German tank producer KNDS confirms to open plant in Ukraine. Germany must be ready for war by 2029, Defense Minister warns. Biden says Washington not authorizing strikes on Moscow, Kremlin. Russian warships to arrive in Havana next week, say Cuban officials, as military exercises expected, and Russian warships headed to Caribbean for drills as tensions rise over Ukraine, U.S. officials say. War over Taiwan would change world, says Australia ambassador to U.S. Kevin Rudd. Pakistan, Somalia, Panama, Denmark and Greece elected to UN Security Council.
Taiwan to restrict export of nitrocellulose to Russia, Belarus. France to supply Mirage warplanes to Ukraine, says Macron. Putin says Russia has no imperial ambitions, does not plan to attack NATO.
EU's Josep Borrell says Israel's rescue mission another massacre of Gazans. U.S. intelligence helped Israel rescue 4 hostages in Gaza. Israel rescues 4 hostages in Gaza raid that Hamas says kills 210 Palestinians.
Coal exports to India via Iran's railways. Russia may transfer brigade set of Iskanders to Belarus. Hangar construction ongoing, claimed in the media.
Some F-16s donated to Ukraine will be stored abroad as reserves, top officer says. U.S. confirms Ukraine used Patriot to down Russia's valuable A-50 radar plane in January. Nearly 20,000 Wagner mercenaries died taking Bakhmut, media investigation confirms.
Uvalde shooting survivors' families sue UPS, FedEx for shipping weapon used by gunmen in school massacre. In the U.S., Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez says progressive movement is undermined by anti-Semitism. Drop in violent crime is no accident, Biden says, as violent crime is down and the U.S. murder rate is plunging, FBI statistics show. UN Food Agency pauses its aid work at U.S. pier in Gaza over security concerns.
Schooling fish expend less energy in turbulent water compared to solitary swimmers, study finds. Brazil sends 4x more audios on WhatsApp than any other country, says Mark Zuckerberg. Jake Paul vs. Mike Tyson live fight is on for Friday, November 15th.
Short bets against Nvidia stand at $34 billion, S3 Partners says, as Nvidia stock shocks the world ahead of its 10-for-1 stock split. GameStop shares soar as Keith Gill schedules YouTube return. In China, Alibaba court CEOs to start live streaming on Taobao during 618 shopping festival.
Vast majority of Irish people think the EU should impose sanctions on Israel. Qatar threatens to expel Hamas if terror group rejects ceasefire deal, report says. Spain joins the procedure against Israel for genocide in the International Court of Justice. French police arrest Russo-Ukrainian man with explosives near Paris. Ukraine jails former soldier who sent Russia locations of military targets. Putin warns that Russia could provide long-range weapons to others to strike Western targets.
Janet Yellen warns AI in finance poses significant risks. Artists are fleeing Instagram to keep their work out of Meta's AI, and Meta faces call in EU not to use personal data for AI models. A social app for creatives. Kara grew from 40k to 650k users in a week, because artists are fed up with Meta's AI policies. Adobe causes user outrage with a change in Photoshop to CS that lets it access all your content.
With cashless payments, In France, major Paris nightclubs charge Arabs and black people higher prices. Canada will tax online streaming companies to fund local broadcasters. In Spain, Treasury approves the minimum tax of 15% for large multinationals. In Argentina, President Milei trims dates off European tour, will skip G7 summit in Italy, and Javier Milei says if you did things wrong, you deserve to be starved for being a son of a bitch. Recently Milei vows to veto pension increase, forgoes own pension amid crisis.
ECB and Canada cut rates as easing among big economies gets going. Yellen says Biden's economic policies help U.S. middle class more than Trump's, and the average U.S. home price could spike 20% to a record $500,000 if the Fed cuts interest rates too soon, expert says. South Korea's GNI, gross national income, beats Japan's for first time ever, as yen plummets.
Dispute.
(2025) Rivian R1S and R1T add 850 horsepower tri-motor model. Quad now has 1025 horsepower, and Rivian's new R1 EVs offer Apple Wallet car key support, Apple Music with spatial audio. Peugeot to kill PSE badge after just one model as focus turns to EVs. Renault to develop much of sub $21,000 Twingo EV in China with unnamed partner.
UN confirms 11 staff detained by Houthis in Yemen. Israel's top coal supplier Colombia to suspend exports over Gaza war. Putin's daughters make rare appearance at St. Petersburg Economic Forum.
Former astronaut William Anders, who took iconic Earthrise photo, killed in Washington plane crash. Oxford University to return 16th century bronze sculpture of Hindu Saint Tirumankai Alvar to India. In Germany, cancer researchers call for ban on cigarette sales in supermarkets.
Google's new CFO to receive $9.9 million signing bonus, $1 million in annual salary. Norway Wealth Fund to vote against Musk's $56 billion Tesla pay package. The train's still too expensive for the majority of French people, according to a survey.
Europe afraid of Chinese EVs, says BYD boss, ahead of likely EU tariff hike. Turkey to impose additional 40% tariff on all China vehicles. Volvo to shift EV production to Europe to escape China tariffs.
Russia's advanced Su-57 fighter jet hit in Astrakhan Oblast, claimed by HUR. Human rights activists have asked the Hague court to issue arrest warrants for Russian propagandists Solovyov, Simon Yang and Kiselyov. During Paris visit, Biden warns that Putin is not going to stop at Ukraine. Irish, Czechs hold EU vote, after Dutch far-right gains. Danish Prime Minister cancels campaign events, after being assaulted by man in Copenhagen. Dutch vote shows limit of far-right turnout in EU elections.
Saudis said to hand about 60% of Aramco, offer to foreign funds. German appliance maker Miele to cut 1,300 jobs in Germany. California upgrade company aims militarized, tactical Cybertruck at police forces. Gaza civilian killings during Israel's freeing of hostages could be war crimes, UN says. Hamas, Palestinian Authority welcome UN Security Council resolution for Gaza ceasefire. Al Jazeera rejects accusations hostage captor was a journalist on their platform. Apple supplier stocks drop as AI events seen lacking wow factor. Where Apple brings ChatGPT and more AI to devices, Wall Street unimpressed. Elon Musk threatens to ban Apple devices from his companies over Apple's ChatGPT integrations. Russia announces joint Navy drills with Egypt near Suez Canal. Ukraine is developing its own glide bombs. Reportedly, the ones it got from the US often don't work.
Russia begins second stage of tactical nuclear weapon drills with Belarus. Russia uses submarines to patrol Black Sea after naval losses, Ukraine military says. Rheinmetall and Ukrainian government open tank repair plant.
Japan ministry believes Toyota's misconduct may violate UN standards, Yomiuri reports. Class action lawsuit alleges certain Kia and Hyundai vehicles have a defect. Chinese builder Daishin receives liquidation order from HK Court.
Mexico's peso sinks as Sheinbaum embraces judicial reform. Japan to enroll all foreign residents in national pension system. In the UK, Labour election victory would be net positive for markets, says JP Morgan.
Hyundai plans to file for India unit IPO in June, sources say. Intel interrupts work on $25 billion Israel fab, citing need for responsible capital management. Apple's Vision Pro headset sets launch in China, where it faces ByteDance, Huawei.
Saudi Arabia joins BIS CBDC project Enbridge as a full participant. U.S. crypto regulations are moving against the CBDC and non-compliant stablecoins like Tether, claims JP Morgan. New law grants U.S. president power to block digital asset access.
New York Attorney General sues two crypto pyramid schemes, promoters targeting Haitian Americans in $1 billion scam. In the U.S., 3 United Kingdom nationals charged in connection with Evolved Apes NFT scam. Tech tycoon Mike Lynch cleared of all fraud charges in Hewlett-Packard trial.
McDonald's just launched its own metaverse, and Grimace NFT owners are VIPs. Binance resumes MasterCard payments for crypto. Telegram launches an app currency, Stars, for digital purchases.
Kraken preparing for $100 million funding round ahead of possible IPO, claimed in a report. Robinhood to acquire Bitstamp, global cryptocurrency exchange, for approximately $200 million in cash. Ethereum ETFs to attract over $4 billion in inflows, says K33 analyst. Coinbase introduces H-Index, Ethereum tops new blockchain activity metric. JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo customers lose $456 million in 1 year to dirty little secret called Zelle, says Senate Committee Chairman. Trump pitches himself as crypto president at San Francisco tech fundraiser. Binance reaches